Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We've got loads of questions today. I know we didn't have so many last week, so it looks like we're making up for it with plenty this week, which is fantastic. We'll get to them in just a second. Because there's so many, we'll probably be having a bit of a quick fire today. So I'll try to be as in-depth as I can on it, of course. But, you know, we've got to get through a lot, so bear with me. Before we get into them, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You know all the Kendo stuff. You know the Kendo stuff. That's what you're here for. But the YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe. Most importantly about that YouTube stuff, when you click subscribe, a little bell appears. That's the Kendo bell. That makes you get better at Kendo when you ring it, all right? So make sure you ring that bell and you'll instantly start getting better at Kendo. That's been scientifically proven, or so I'm told. And finally, again, before we delve into this too much, shop at KendoStar. Where are we? KendoStar. There we go. I'm in a different setup today because my studio was already set up for the video that I put out yesterday. If you haven't seen that, go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's like a new series I'm doing about like introducing or giving a bit of an introduction to sort of really famous players. We sort of have a look at them, go into a bit about who they are and what have you, and then look at some of the videos. So we did the first one of them yesterday. That was Miyazaki Masahiro Sensei, obviously one of the legends of Kendo. So yeah, go and check that out. And if you like videos like that or like this one, or others that we do, we've got more instructional videos coming soon as well. I've got some filming planned at the weekend for that, so that's going to be great. If you like all this, you want to support it, you want to see more, then make sure you shop at KendoStar.com. Okay, that's my website. It provides fantastic, amazing, wonderful Kendo equipment. Of course, I'd say that, so check out our testimonials, our Trustpilot rating. That's an independent reviews aggregate. We're actually one of the highest rated websites on Trustpilot. Not just Kendo websites, like one of the highest rated e-commerce sites on Trustpilot, all right? So they love us over there because we're doing so well. So yeah, support us by doing that. Okay, that's enough ramble. Let's get into these fantastic questions. Right, so this first question here, this one is actually a comment from the video that I posted yesterday. So this isn't a specific question for Kendo Rant, but I thought this would be the best place to do it. So as I said, I put out a video introducing Miyazaki Masahiro Sensei, okay, and this comment is in relation to that. So it reads, I really enjoy these analysis videos that highlight of the Ippons of the best Kendo players. However, the question I have is why aren't the variant techniques seen in these matches taught in practice? Much of what is effective is not correct by testing standards. Why be hush-hush about what will help you win tournaments? It seems to me that it's a good idea to learn from and imitate the masters of the combat side of the art and not be ashamed of how they win. Yet this is not what is taught, and tournament style is often frowned upon in practice. Please explain your perspective. So this is a great question. It's something that comes up a lot. And I think it's a huge misconception that's out there that like tournament Kendo or Shinai Kendo like is its own thing that's bad and you should avoid it and you shouldn't, like it's a different style of Kendo when it's totally not. You generally hear that sort of talk from like mediocre, or sort of medium level, I should say, rather than mediocre, sorry, to lower level in sort of teachers, and especially outside of Japan, and very rarely heard this sort of thing in Japan. Shinai Kendo isn't a thing. There's just Kendo, right? And then there's strategy that's effective in Shinai, and then there's strategy that's effective in gradings, and then there's strategy that's effective in other situations, all right? But you don't have waza that you only use in Shinai or waza that you only use in gradings. Yes, the strategy is different, all right? In a grading, score isn't counted, all right? So you're supposed to be showing the side of your Kendo that is in lower levels demonstrating your technique, and in higher levels demonstrating your understandings of deeper aspects of Kendo. So they're not looking to see what waza you can use to score Ippon necessarily. Now you have to achieve some valid strikes in gradings, especially at higher levels, because if you don't, then your you're obviously your semi and the concepts you're supposed to be putting on display aren't working right. But you'll find that there is no difference. It's no secret techniques. And the reason you'll find that most clubs, especially like I say outside of Japan, don't teach the more advanced waza that you see in the Shiai, it's not because they're secret. It's because the level of the club isn't there yet. Yeah, they're advanced techniques. Yeah, so you need to be able to walk before you can run. And the majority of us only practice Kendo for a couple of hours a week. The guys you're seeing in these tournaments, they practice 5 hours a day. So 4 or 5 hours a day. So it's a big difference, yeah, in terms of the technical ability. And that's why. Okay, so it's not, but if you, oh, don't do small men in gradings or something like that. That's nonsense. Total nonsense. You have to make strikes that satisfy the criteria of Yuko Datotsu. And that is judged at different levels up to, let's say, third dan. And we expect you to be able to do valid strikes that fully satisfy the criteria of Yuko Datotsu at third dan. After fourth dan, we're starting to look at how you're able to create opportunities. We're not looking at whether, oh, that guy just used a small waza. He just used small men, right? Fail him. That's nonsense, all right? It's just nonsense, right? If you start doing stuff that's like just blocking all the time because you're defending because you don't want to receive a strike, in the grading, it's showing that you're selecting the wrong, you're selecting the wrong tactics for the grading, all right? You're selecting the wrong strategy for the grading, yeah? So it shows that you don't get it. So you would fail for that. Yeah, of course you would, because it's not a competition. Yeah, you're supposed to be demonstrating your understanding of either the technical aspects or the more, what can I say, the more advanced aspects of Kendo, yeah? So that's why. It's not secret. It's not even separate, yeah? So if you're like third dan or something, or fourth dan, and you're teaching in a Kendo club and you're telling your students that like Shiai Kendo is a separate thing, you're wrong about it, all right? It's not. That's why all of the Hachidans, not all of them, but loads of the Hachidans have been really successful competitors, or they've been teachers of really successful competitors, because it's interlinked. It's inseparable. Okay, I received a great set of Hakama when I ordered the lucky box earlier this spring. Great, but they're a bit long. As I preferred, is there a preferred way of shortening them? In one of your videos, you mentioned rolling the top up to shorten it for kids, but I feel like it's a bit out of bounds for a 40-year-old. Okay, the first thing I'd say, and this is huge, right? And I'm getting this quite a lot recently, speaking to a lot of people. I think a lot of people are, I'm going to do a new video about how to properly wear the Hakama, because I think a lot of people are wearing it too low, right? I think a lot of people are wearing it too low. I think a lot of people are thinking they need a shorter Hakama than they do. The Hakama, first, it should come down to the level where the hem is just about touching the top of your foot, all right? So it's slightly below your heel bone. The back should be higher than the front, all right? You shouldn't be able to see your heel, not your heel. What am I talking about? I'm talking about your ankle bone, not your heel bone, right? Of course, it doesn't want to be lower than your heel. Lower than your ankle bone, yeah? You shouldn't be able to see your ankle bone clearly when you're stood in Shizentai, all right? Otherwise, it looks too short. Secondly, the height at which you wear it, it shouldn't be worn at the same height as where you wear your jeans or your trousers. It should be slightly higher than that, with the top of the himo would be slightly over your navel, all right? So it should be worn higher. So the first thing I'd probably guess at is that you may well be wearing it too low, all right? If you're definitely sure you're not. Now, some people prefer a shorter Hakama, especially if they've got sort of a bit of extra baggage. They like to sort of wear it under the belly, which is sort of fine, but it's not really the right way to do it, to be honest. They're not jeans, yeah, they're not Western clothes. That's not how they're supposed to be worn. So yeah, it's not the sort of, people say that to me sometimes about, oh, what if I've got a belly? Actually, you're supposed to have a belly. It's a bit weird thing to say, but here's a photo of me wearing a Hakama and a it's the same thing, right? This is my wedding photo. Yeah, it's traditional Japanese where I was younger and a lot thinner than I am when I wore this, right? And what they do is they actually pad out your belly with towels because it was considered to like in traditional sort of Japanese outfitting or clothing, fashion, whatever. It was better if you looked a little bit rotund because it didn't look like you were poor and hungry. And similarly, if you're female, it's different as well. Yeah, the kendogi is not supposed to fit like a t-shirt, and it's not supposed to be form fitting. You're not supposed to look like this if you're a woman, and you're not supposed to look like this if you're a man. Yeah, women's clothing in traditional Japanese culture, you're supposed to look straight. If you look at like a kimono, they pad them and what have you and wrap them and stuff so that they look perfectly straight. The body line is parallel. That's the intention. So it's a little bit different with the Hakama and Kendogi because technically they're men's clothes from a traditional point of view. But like I say, it should be worn higher, all right? Secondly, you should, if that's definitely too long after you've sort of considered that, then I think it's okay for you to roll it up. Nobody's going to care about that. Or you might be able to find a tailor that will be able to do it. If it's not an Aizome one, then they might not want to. They might get a bit about it being Aizome, but you can just wear it a bit higher as well. There's quite a lot of freedom. There's no like definite you have to wear it this exact point on your body. I've got loads of Hakama of all different sizes. I've got them ranging from size 25 to 27 in different models, and I've got ones that were gifted to me and they're a little bit too long, and when I wear them, I just wear them a bit higher than I normally would. It's fine, Next one, I'm curious about how folks are taught to open as motodachi to receive kote. I've heard 3 versions now. How do you do it? And is there one way to do it for the Bokuto ni yoru kihon waza keiko ho? Because even there, people are just kind of doing what they do in keiko, and it's all over the place. As a chaser, are you an advocate of changing how you open depending on the audience? All right, so the book on the Bokuto ni yoru kihon waza keiko said the video says raise the kensen, and the book says raise it to the left, to your left. So, right, I want my kote so you can see. Right, I'm going to stand up and go out of shot a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see this. Right, so if this is in the middle, the way I would do it is I bring the kensen to the left and up so that the kote buton is on the center line of my body. Alright, so my opponent just has to swing the shinai straight and they'll hit my kote. Alright, I know that some people teach just to lift like this. I don't like that teaching, personally. I don't like it. I think it encourages people to swing the shinai diagonally like this, right? And it's already a habit people have with hitting kote, and that just exacerbates it. So for me, it's a case of I lift it to the left, yeah? So I'm here in my kamae, and then when I want to receive kote, this way, all right? So it's very easy and clear and obvious, and if they hit kote properly, they'll hit my kote buton, and then you can swing the shinai straight to do that. I do that the same in keiko, in uchikomi, and I do the same in the Bokuto ni yoru kihon waza keiko ho, and I do the same no matter who my partner is, whatever level they are. It doesn't matter about you. I don't change it for the audience. I believe that's the best way to receive kote. Some senseis teach it differently, and some senseis teach it the way I was taught, like that. So yeah, for me, that's the best way to do it. So next one is actually related to that. It says, often I get hit on the knuckles or the forearm above the kote. Some of it must be misaiming by the kakarite, as one person in my dojo hits my knuckles however much I try different ways of offering the target. But some of it must be my bad technique too. What is the best way to offer kote for a beginner, same level, high level practitioner? And how does one grip the shinai have an effect on this? So exactly as I just said is the best way to do it for every level. All right. If you do it like I just said, all right, this way like this, right? They're gonna have a hard time. If they hit your knuckles, it's 100%. It's 100% them doing it wrong, 100%, right? And it's because they're swinging the Shinai diagonally like this when they're hitting Kote this way. Yeah, that's the only way they're gonna hit your knuckles if your Kote is here, right? They're gonna have to swing in from this direction. But if they swing straight, they can only hit the correct target. If they swing diagonally, they're gonna either hit here on your knuckles, like you say, or they're gonna hit you here. All right, but if you hold it this way, there's absolutely no way they can miss it. All right, so yeah, if the same person does it a lot, often is always hitting your knuckles, tell them, just say, look, you seem to be hitting my knuckles quite a lot. You don't have to put it to them like, oh, you keep smashing my knuckles, it really hurts. You can if you want to, but you don't have to put it that way. You can just say, oh, just let you know, I'm noticing you're hitting my knuckles quite a lot when I'm doing that. And if it's a lower grade person than you, just say, you know, oh, maybe you want to look at, see if you're swinging the Shinai properly straight, because I'm putting the Kote on the center. If it's higher grade than you, ask them like you've just asked me. Just say, oh, Sensei, or whatever, or whoever you are. I seem to be feeling like you're hitting my knuckles a lot. Am I receiving wrong? Right? And if you're receiving exactly as I just said, and then they say, yeah, you're receiving wrong, then, you know, can't be helped. they're not up for changing. But hopefully they'll sort of be like, oh, okay. And then maybe they'll sort of reflect on it a bit themselves. Okay. Next one. Hello, Mr. Fisher. I'm having trouble finding the correct gi size. I'm 174 and underweight. Should be easy, right? Wrong. The recommended size for me fits good around the chest, but the arms are too long. And if I buy one that's one size smaller, then it's a little tight across the chest. But the arm length is perfect. What should I do? Have one custom made. I don't want to sew up the arm length as it makes me feel like a child, as I already have to do that with my pants. Thank you. P.S. Don't forget to shop at KendoStar. It helps feed the lights and keeps the kids on. I wish I could switch the kids off sometimes, tell you. All right. Look, if you're 174 centimeters and underweight, you're looking at like a size 3 for most Kendogi. It depends on what Kendogi you are looking at, but that should fit you all right. It shouldn't be tight around your chest, a size 3. Size 2 will be, and it'll be too short as well. So you definitely don't want a size 2 if you're 174. You're not far off my height, to be honest. You're a little bit taller than me. 1 centimetre. And yeah, like you should be alright with a size 3 for the most part. But if you're feeling that the sleeves are too long on a size 3, don't forget it has to cover your elbow. The sleeve has to cover your elbow, but it mustn't really touch the kote. So when you've got your kote on, the sleeve wants to come to like a finger or two's width from the kote. All right, it doesn't want to go over the kote, but it just wants to come a finger or two away. If it comes a finger or two away, then it's the right length. Yeah. Recently there's been a fashion of making the sleeves shorter, but it's not good. Zenkenen are going to stop that, so keep an eye on that. If you still think that the sleeves are going to be too long on like a, and I'll say something else as well, like a size 3 and a size 3.5. If you look at like the Kati or something like that, a size 3 and a 3.5, there's not a massive difference in the around the chest. It's more the length of the sleeves that's the difference. But like if you went to a size 4, yeah, that's going to be too baggy for you probably. So I don't know though. It depends. You'd have to let me know. But if you're definitely sure that the sleeves are too long, hit me up before you order it, or well, after you've ordered it. Place the order, send me an email, say, look, I've ordered this size, I spoke to you in Kendo RANT, and the sleeves are just a little bit too long, and we'll do it for you. We'll adjust them. And there's nothing wrong with that. We do that all the time. It's not childish or something to adjust the sleeves of something. Everyone's a different shape and size. It's just we can't have like 50 sizes of Kendogi in stock, right? So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. We'll just sort it out, and when you get it, it'll be exactly like new. It won't be like you've altered it or anything. No one will know you've altered it. We've altered it, because it'll be the same process as when it's made in the first place. So we do that all the time, so don't worry about it. All right? Next one. Due to situations in life, I find myself alone, teaching a lovely, super dedicated lady well into her 60s. My main focus is to make her enjoy and experience as much Kendo as possible. We have managed to get her to reach first kyu, but despite focused training for it, she still struggles with doing Fumikomi. Fumikomi puts certain stress on her joints and tendons, even when done properly, which I feel is an unnecessary risk in this case. Now we should be training her for her first dan. I know the benefits of Fumikomi, but also is there is not a single point in the rules that make it explicitly a need for making Ippon. It is not performed in Kendo Kata, not even a single time. Not anymore, it used to be. If it were my criteria alone, I would focus on performing good Suriashi techniques to prevent her from unnecessary injuries and make sure she continues practicing for as long as possible. But do you have any suggestions? Do you think it's impossible to pass first dan without doing Fumikomi? Right, this is a difficult one. Okay. I sort of fall on two sides on this one. One, it's not impossible for her to pass without doing Fumikomi. There's plenty of people that can't do Fumikomi. Plenty of people. The issue is, though, is that what they try and do is some sort of half-baked Fumikomi, and they can't do it. So they're still not actually attacking with Kikentai no Ichi. If she can attack with Kikentai no Ichi and without doing Fumikomi, then that's fine. To an extent, I'd still probably try and get a note to the grading panel though and say, oh look, for health reasons she can't do Fumikomi. The one thing I would say, now everybody's individual, everybody's different, all right? Everybody's got to understand that for their own point of view. But I can't buy into, well, she's well into her 60s, so she can't do Fumikomi. There's people in the 90s that do Kendo with Fumikomi. So it's not an age thing. It definitely is a technique thing. Fumikomi doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to stamp hard on the floor. The act of Fumikomi is more the Fumikiri, which is the launch, that's most important. But there's people in my dojo that can't necessarily do it in the way that you sort of is traditionally taught. It's not a problem. It can be worked with. It's just a case of, like you say, it's not part of the rules that you have to have Fumikomi. You just have to have Kikentai no Ichi. So yeah, it's perfectly possible. But what I would do is, like I say, I'd like you say, focus on doing it correct with Suriashi if necessary, but make sure that the Kikentai no Ichi is there. And if you go to a grading, see if you can get a note to the panel or something so that they know and it doesn't look like she just doesn't want to do it. So yeah. Next one. Hi Andy, how's the current status of Kendo practice in the UK and in Europe in general? And also, what's the refereeing gradings called in Japanese? Thanks in advance. Okay, so the current status of Kendo practice in the UK and Europe in general. I don't know what it's like in Europe in general. From what I've seen from my Facebook friends, they're starting to practice again, which is cool. In the UK, I think most dojos are back open now, with various measures in place, of course. But those are starting to get better as well. The UK is doing brilliant with its vaccine rollout, so things are doing okay in terms of how restrictions are easing in the country. There's various mitigations and stuff going on, but it's getting closer to what it should be. It's like, my dojo, most of the people in my dojo are fully vaccinated now. I think we're at a point where we're at the sort of safest we're going to get in a way. So things are slowly moving in the right direction. And like I say, we are having weekly practice at least. So yeah, that's that. The referee and gradings, it depends if you mean the people that do the actual gradings. They're called Shinsain. Okay, Shinsain. Like the guy that says like Hajime and Yame and stuff, I don't know what they're called. Probably Kakarinin or something like that, or Kakarin or something. Probably. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Never asked that question. Makes sense that they'd be called like the Kakarinin or something, Kakarin or something like that. Kakarin probably. Next one. What's the definition of Senshu in Kendo? Senshu. Yeah. Tried searching it on the net and only got the definition of former master or late master. But I've heard you use it on several occasions when referring to living kenshi. Senshu is the Japanese word for competitor or competitor. So it's not specific to Kendo. It's any sports. Whatever. Matsuzaki Senshu. The All Japan Kendo Championships is called the Zen Nihon, which is All Japan. Kendo, obviously. Senshiken. So Senshu is the Senshu from Senshiken. That's championships, Taikai event. So yeah, that's what it means. It just means competitor. It's just a suffix. So you know that they're a sports person, a competitor. They could say anything, about footballers, whatever. That's soccer for people that speak different languages. Beckham Senshu or something like that. I don't know, or Tyson Senshu for the boxers. Anything really. In the 7th Dan competition, you posted at the 3.54 mark. There's a Katatari Strike from the Jordan player to the right Kote of his opponent. Is this a valid waza? I've seen some solid hits with Zanshin from Jordan players against that type of guard, but I've never seen one awarded Ippon. I did ask another Jordan player once and was told it doesn't score, but it stings, with a little smile. Okay, I'm not sure that the guy you've asked has got the right point of view, but all right, I went back and looked at that. I think you mean the left kote, not the right kote. You're always allowed to hit the right kote. And what you're talking about is one of the players is against Jordan, and one of the players is doing this kind of altered kamae. So instead of chudan like this, often people will do this kind of kamae against Jordan. So like you have in kata number 5, but he was using this kind of kamae here. All right, this one here, and it's another popular one. And what the Jordan player did is he struck this kote here because it's also open. All right, it's perfectly valid to do that. Perfectly valid. It's not something you do to upset or make it sting, or anything like that. You shouldn't be doing Kendo to make people sting. If you look in the rules, I think it's on page 5. It actually says that the there you go. It's on page 6 of the rule book. Not sure if you can see that because you can't see it because it's blown out by the lights. But page 6 of the rule book clearly says, Article 13.2, the target area for the kote shall be the right forearm in the case of chudan no kamae. The left forearm of the opponent, the left forearm if the opponent holds his or her shinai with the left hand forward, or if the left and right forearms, the left and right forearms in the case of other kamae. Okay, so when someone's in chudan, you can only hit the right kote. To stand in chudan with the left hand forward, I'm not sure I do that, but with the left hand forward, then you can hit the left one instead of the right. And if they stand in any other kamae than chudan no kamae, then you can hit both. So this kamae here that he was in, this one here, that's not chudan no kamae, so it's valid, yeah, but wasn't awarded, wasn't good enough for whatever reason. But in terms of, like you say, it doesn't score but it stings, it's not really the right way to do it, shouldn't be doing that. There's a tactic to say, oh look, it makes them realize an opening, and then they might that will affect the efficacy of your seme going forward. Because that was dangerous, that was close, but you shouldn't be doing it to cause them pain. Yeah, that's not the right attitude. So don't do that. Yeah. Hi Andy, what's your recommendation regarding using beeswax for Shinai maintenance? Should it be applied after Shinai is oiled and dried? Maybe the wax itself is enough. I read the opinion that wax, especially candle one, should not be used as it may leave unremovable stains on the opponent's bogu. What do you think? Okay, so we sell beeswax on KendoStar for Shinai. It's best not to use candle wax, and you don't use it instead of oil. The best way to use the wax, it's not for preventing splinters, or it is for preventing splinters. It's not for preventing like the Shinai breaking or cracking like oil does. It's not to give it moisture. Oil moisturizes the bamboo and keeps it flexible, so it's got less chance of breaking. The way you want to use wax is if you've got like a what do you call it, a Shinai that's sorry, I'm all over the place, that's splintered, you know, so it's not broken but like it's kind of flaking off, then you can shave it with a Shinai shaver, which I know we've got a question about later. That's why I was kind of losing my train of thought there. But you can shave it down a little bit, and then you can rub the wax over that bit where it's splintered, and it'll prevent the splinters coming back. Yeah, that's what the wax is for. It's not to be used instead of oil. Yeah, it serves a different purpose. And you don't rub it all over the Shinai. Yeah, don't rub it all over the Shinai, especially where it's likely to hit the other person's ball, because it might leave a mark. If it's like a natural beeswax, something like that, it shouldn't be too bad, but still, you know. Next one, what would you recommend on focusing on before your first Shiai, and when do you rate one good enough to start? Sorry for my poor English. English is perfectly fine, my friend. Okay, for your first Shiai, try to not worry too much about the result, but if anything, don't lose on the spirit or the loudest voice. Try to give your best kiai, and try to beat your opponent on that at least, and then just try to make positive attacks without fear, and don't worry if you lose. You probably will. Okay. Then when are you good enough to start? When you're ready to wear ball gown, you can make strikes with Fumikomi, and you can do Shiai. Okay. Hi Fish Sensei, any tips on trying to beat one Sensei in Jigeko? I love questions like this. If not beat, then try to land good hits on them. My Sensei is a nationally renowned competitor and is really fast at hitting and great at making openings, obviously. I'm really new to Kendo and I've just gotten into Bolga a month or so ago. My problem is that I can't seem to keep my center against him. His feints seem to draw my Shinai to wherever he wants them to go, and before I know it, I've already conceded a hit. I know he's not going easy on me, and I wouldn't want him to anyways, but are there any tips to maintain the center and not being too reactive to an opponent's semi? Also, would it be advisable if I tried Makiage and Maki or Saiwaza against my Sensei? The temptation to fully disarm one's Sensei is quite strong. Why? Do you personally use this sort of waza in Jigeko and Shiai? Thank you so much for your time and all your videos. They help so much. Good. I'm glad the videos help. All right. Okay. I'm going to try and break this to you, right? Remember, before I say anything, I'm saying this stuff for your own good. All right? This is for your benefit. I want you to get better at Kendo. I want you to do well at Kendo, and that's why I'm telling you the truth right now. All right? Why do you want to beat your Sensei? Why? What are you going to get out of it? Do you think you get a medal? You don't get promoted, you know. You don't get anything, right? So you've answered your own question here, mate. You really have. First off, you say your Sensei's not going easy on you. If he's a nationally renowned competitor, he's going easy on you, definitely. The dude could probably eat you for breakfast in like 20 seconds if he wanted to, right? But he's not. He's trying to sort of teach you. And the thing is I'm really glad you brought this question, because I think you're in a situation that a lot of people are in. Kendo is about overcoming yourself, not overcoming other people, right? And that's true for Shiai too. You can't beat your Sensei in Jigeko for a start. Obviously not. How could you beat him? You know, I say this to some of my students all the time, like when they get like this and they're really trying to beat me. It's like, why are you trying to beat me? Like, as if you can beat me. If you can beat me, then they're gonna have to take away my sikdan, right? It's not right if you could just beat me. You're approaching it from the total wrong point of view, right? Your Sensei is not there as an obstacle for you to overcome or for you to achieve victory over. All right, all you're going to achieve from that is self-gratification. It's worth nothing. It's worth nothing. Yeah, You're just going to inflate your own ego. You're fighting against your own ego, right? And that's what I mean when Kendo is about overcoming yourself. It's not about getting praise from others or making yourself feel good. It's about suppressing that ego and trying to just beat your sensei. You can't hold your center against him, and he can hit you whenever he wants because you're trying so hard to beat him. Whenever he moves, you're flinching because you don't want to lose. You're so scared of losing to him. You're so keen on beating him or hitting him. There's no wonder you can't keep your center. All right, so you need to let go of that. Totally need to let go of that. And what you need to do with your sensei is you need to just try to stick to what he's taught you. Stick to your kamae and stick to making spirited attacks with full sutemi. Don't care if they hit or not. He's going to hit you first. He's going to do the kaishu waza. He's going to do oju waza, and sometimes he might let you hit him. He's not there for you to overcome. You're there to overcome yourself. All right. And when you're in that situation, to suppress your ego and to just try to make the valid strike, I wouldn't even do anything but just men strikes for the time being against him. I wouldn't forget about makiwaza. Forget it. Just forget it. Right. You can start worrying about makiwaza after you got, let's say, 5th dan. All right. What if you disarm your sensei, right? You do makiwaza, and by some miracle you send his Shinai flying across the dojo. What do you think is going to happen? Is everybody going to think you're super cool? All right. So look, they're not. I don't use makiwaza very often. I've used it before. It's not a great waza. It's not super useful. To be honest, it's more of a it's a bit of a show off technique. It does have some specific applications, but I don't use it very often. Now look, like I said at the start, I've been quite hard on you there because it's so important, and I really want you to do well. All right, I really want you to get this. I really do. All right, so don't take this as me sort of dumping on you, because I'm not. Yeah. I want you to do the right thing, and I want you to improve at Kendo, but this way isn't the way that's going to do it. All right? You're not... If one day, when you get through some grades, you might have to fight against your sensei in a Shiai. You can worry about beating him then, right? You can worry about beating him then. Until that point, he's not there to be beaten by you. That's not what his job is. All right? He's no good to you as an object for you to overcome. Right? You have to use him as an instrument to improve your ability, and that isn't how you do it. All right? It's difficult. I know it is. I went through years of making that mistake. I did. All right? I went through years of it, and even now I slip into it. And it's me losing to myself. All right? Giving into my own ego because I want to feel satisfied that I scored this awesome Kote against that super strong sensei. Yeah? Oh, yeah, I got an awesome Kote on him. It's like, yeah, but what did you gain? You can do it, all right? Just let go of those sort of feelings, right? Next, it's correct. It's correct to avoid the men hit, moving the head like a boxer. Is it correct to do that? Okay, I suppose we tried to move the feet, Asabaki. What's your opinion, Fish Sensei? So, what we're talking about is when they're coming in, you move your head like a boxer like this. It's not a correct or incorrect thing. There's nothing to say it's incorrect. It's just a bad idea. It's a super bad idea. All right, you're gonna get hit if you do that. This isn't boxing. I'm telling you now. As soon as somebody starts doing this sort of thing, I could hit the men like that. All right, easy. Right, so don't. That isn't how you want to do it. Why would you want to do that as well? This sort of relates to what we were saying before. In the Shiai, this sort of thing, I understand why you might want to avoid a hit, but it's not by any means an effective way to avoid being hit. All right, and if you're doing it in Keiko, you're not helping anyone, but at all. You're certainly not improving your own stuff. You're absolutely right. You should move using Ash Sabaki and Tai Sabaki. Okay, so don't think about dodging with your head like that. Next one. I've recently purchased the Shinai shaver off KendoStar, and you've linked to it. The metal one. Could you please show in the video how to properly use it and what it's good for? Okay. So I don't have one to hand, but it's the one that's sort of shaped like a bottle opener. The handle's a file, and then there's like the bit that's like looped around like that. It's really easy. You just use that as a scraper to scrape the sides of the take, and then you use the handle as a file. All right, that's it. It's not super difficult. It's just like I say, you use it as like a shaver. Yeah. Next one, and this is the last one. We're almost there. Hey Andy, when you're facing an opponent in Shiai or Jigeko, how much of what you do is conscious versus instinctive? By that I mean, if you're fighting for the center, are you thinking stuff like, I'm going to make him attack my men by pressuring him in this manner? Or is it sort of a subconscious instinct thing? It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere in the middle. Obviously, I am paying attention to what's happening, but I'm also relying on my experience to react to the situation appropriately, and I'm not going through a long thought process of like, right, okay, so we'll do this, and then this will happen, and then that'll happen. I'm not going in. It does. I don't have time for that sort of long thought process. But based on my experience, I can make judgment calls and snap decisions sort of immediately. And for the most part, it's conscious. Not entirely. There's obviously there's two elements to it. There's that element, and then there's the element of sort of subconscious actions as well, which also happen. And again, that's a product of experience and muscle memory to some extent. So it's sort of somewhere in the middle. It's difficult to explain. It's a bit like driving. It's a bit like driving if you drive a vehicle, all right? You know you're going to turn left, yeah? But you sort of subconsciously put the indicator on, the, what do you call it? Do you call it a turning signal or something in America? Yeah, your signal, you sort of subconsciously do it, but you sort of consciously do it at the same time. Do you know what I mean? You know you're doing it, but it's a bit like that. It's a bit like that. Okay. That's it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit of a long episode because we had loads of questions. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring the Kendo bell to get exponentially better at Kendo. And shop at KendoStar to keep the lights on and feed the kids. Thanks for joining me. See you all next time. Bye-bye.